I should have turned back the moment I heard the first whisper. Not the kind the wind makes when it squeezes through old stone, but the kind that sounds like a human breath brushing right against your ear. But I kept walking, because by then I had already convinced myself the churchyard was empty. That was my first mistake. The rain had been falling for hours when I parked my car along the narrow hill road, wipers struggling to clear the windshield fast enough. The old church, St. Orlane's, according to the rusted sign, stood on the ridge like a damp skeleton, its steeple leaning as if exhausted from holding itself up for a century too long. I wasn't there by accident. I was a freelance documentarian then, working on a small series about forgotten towns and abandoned religious sites. People liked the eerie ambience, the peeling paint, the echoes of history. Normally, these projects were peaceful, quiet, sometimes lonely, but never frightening. St. Orleans was different the moment I stepped out of the car. The rain wasn't just falling, it was pressing against everything, like it was trying to bury the hill in sound. But beneath it, I could hear something else, something faint, rhythmic, not quite chanting, not quite breathing, something in between. I told myself it was the gutters. I started recording immediately, raising my handheld camera as I trudged up the stone path. Gravel shifted beneath my boots, slick with mud. The air smelled of wet earth, rotting wood, and something faintly metallic, like old blood or rusting tools. The churchyard fence was half collapsed, covered in vines. Graves jutted from the ground at crooked angles like broken teeth. It should have felt tragic. Instead, it felt occupied. I moved my flashlight along the yard. The beam shook with my hand more than I admitted at the time. Rows of old headstones, tall dying trees. Nothing unusual. Then my light caught something carved into the bark of an oak tree near the church wall. Lines, scratches, spirals overlapping like someone had been carving them obsessively, night after night. I leaned in to film them. That's when I heard it. A whisper. Close, right behind me. A shiver crawled over my skin. I spun around, expecting anyone, but the only thing behind me was the dark-soaked path and the small iron gate I had entered through. The whisper came again, this time from the left. I steadied my breath. Probably wind, I muttered on my audio log. Old trees, unstable branches. But even then, I didn't believe my own explanation. The heavy door surprised me by opening easily, hinges screeching as if complaining about the effort. The smell hit first, a mix of mold, mildew, and something older, something stale, like a room sealed for decades. The interior was worse than the outside. Pews toppled, stained glass cracked, the altar missing entirely. Rainwater streamed down one wall like a leaking wound. I moved deeper, my flashlight cutting a narrow path through the dark. My boots splashed into puddles on the floor. Something skittered in the far corner. A rat, I assumed. I hoped. Then, a whisper again. This time unmistakably human. Stay. I froze mid-step. The audio on my camera went fuzzy, as if something unseen was brushing against the mic. A static hiss rose up slowly, almost like a breath directly into the lens. I turned in a slow circle. Nobody's here, I whispered to myself, though my pulse was already hammering. But the air behind me changed, chilled like the temperature had dropped 10 degrees in a heartbeat. And then I saw it. A figure, tall, thin, standing near the back wall of the church. It wasn't moving, it wasn't breathing. Its outline was barely visible through my flashlight's trembling beam. I blinked. It vanished. Just gone. I considered leaving then. I should have. But my mind latched onto the idea that maybe it was just a shadow, or moisture patterns on the wall. I wanted to believe that. The whispers returned, louder, more urgent. Don't. Leave us. Hear us. Stay. They came from everywhere and nowhere. I backed toward the door, heart pounding, when something cold brushed the back of my neck like fingers made of fog and ice. I spun so fast my shoulder slammed into a pew. Still nothing, just the emptiness of the ruined church. But the whispers didn't stop. I stumbled outside into the rain, breathing hard. The night felt suffocating now, thick with fog rolling between the headstones. My flashlight beam flickered like it was struggling to work. And then the names on the gravestones. They caught my eye, dozens of them, faded but readable. Every name was the same last name, Linden. Impossible coincidence. My hands trembled as I filmed them. I counted 7 graves, each from different decades: 1890, 1902, 1917, 1934. Families normally stay in the same plot. Nothing unusual, but these markers felt wrong. Too perfectly spaced, too aligned, too deliberate. Lightning cracked overhead, illuminating the entire churchyard. That's when I saw them. For a split second, just long enough to be undeniable. 7 figures, standing beside each grave, all facing me. All still, all silent. Rain poured over them, yet they didn't move, didn't sway, didn't breathe. When the darkness snapped back, they were gone. I didn't wait. I started walking fast toward the iron gate, mud splashing under my boots. The whispers swelled again, louder now, like dozens of voices overlapping. Some sounded angry, some begging, some almost welcoming. Don't go. You came. Stay with us. My breath turned sharp and panicked. I nearly slipped as I reached the gate, but stopped dead. It was closed. I hadn't closed it, and the chain, the one I remembered hanging loose, was wrapped around the bars tightly, as if someone had fastened it moments ago. Lightning flashed again. Behind me in the churchyard, the 7 figures stood much closer now, 10 feet away, still not moving, still facing me. Their outlines blurry in the rain, but their faces were wrong, sunken, hollow, like they were carved from wet clay but never finished. I grabbed the chain, pulling, twisting, trying to force the gate open. My fingers slipped on the cold metal. The whispers grew frantic, swirling around me like a storm inside a storm. Stay with us. You belong. A pair of footsteps squelched behind me, slow, wet, approaching. My muscles locked. I turned. One of the figures stood inches from me now, rain sliding down its face, if you could call it a face. The features blurred as if someone had smeared its skin like wet paint. It leaned forward and whispered, "We remember you." My blood ran cold. I stumbled back, grabbed the chain with every bit of strength I had left, and yanked so hard the rusted loop snapped. The gate swung open with a metallic screech. I didn't look back, not once. I ran to my car, slipping, falling, scrambling back up. The whispers followed me the entire way until I threw myself inside and slammed the door. Rain hammered the roof. My own heartbeat drowned out everything else. But the moment I turned the key, a whisper came from the back seat. "You didn't say goodbye," I screamed, spinning around. Empty, completely empty. When I looked forward again, something was pressed against the windshield. A faint handprint, pale and dripping water. I floored the gas and didn't stop until the churchyard disappeared behind the trees. The footage I recorded that night, most of it was ruined. The audio scrambled, the images distorted beyond use, but one frame, just one, remained perfectly clear. The frame from the moment the lightning struck the churchyard. All 7 figures, standing by their graves, staring at me. Their faces no longer blurred, no longer unfinished, and every single one of them had my eyes.